What if the most successful version of you is trapped inside, held back not by a lack of ambition, but by a simple, fixable flaw in your daily system? Think about that for a moment. That version of you, the one who gets things done, who finishes the day with a sense of proud accomplishment instead of exhausted confusion, is right there. You can feel it, can't you? A quiet potential that hums just beneath the surface of your busyness. But something is in the way, a barrier you can't quite see. You make the lists, you set the alarms, you promise yourself that tomorrow will be different, and then life happens. The notifications pile up, the distractions multiply. That one important task you were going to tackle first thing gets pushed to the afternoon, and then to tomorrow, and then it just becomes a quiet source of guilt. You end the day feeling busy, but deep down, you know you haven't been truly productive. There's a profound difference between those two states. Being busy is about motion, being productive is about results, and right now, you're moving, but you're not moving forward. This isn't a personal failing. This is a system failure. You are operating with a set of rules that are designed for a different time, a different world. You're trying to navigate a high-speed digital landscape with a map drawn for a quiet, analog past. The frustration you feel is your intuition screaming that you were built for more than this, that your time, your energy, your focus, your very life is worth more than being spent on trivialities that leave no mark. You are capable of creating meaningful work. You are capable of building something that matters. You are capable of having a career and still having a life. But to unlock that, you need a new set of rules. You need a blueprint from someone who has already navigated this path, who has taken limited resources and built something extraordinary. This is why we look to Jack Ma, not because he is a billionaire, but because he is a builder. He started with nothing but an idea and a relentless drive to figure things out. He faced rejection, failure, and immense pressure, yet he found a way to systematize success, to build one of the world's largest companies not by working harder, but by working smarter. His genius lies in profound simplicity. He doesn't deal in complex theoretical concepts. He deals in actionable, fundamental truths about how to get from point A to point B in the most effective way possible. And the beautiful part is that these truths are not reserved for entrepreneurs in Shanghai. They are universal principles that you can apply to your desk, your projects, your goals, starting right now. This is your wake-up call. That hum of potential inside you is real. It is your best self asking for permission to come out and play. It is time to stop blaming your willpower and start upgrading your system. It is time to learn a new way. By the end of this, you will not just have a list of tips. You will have a new lens through which to see your work and your time. You will understand the psychological triggers that make these tricks so effective, wiring your brain for action and accomplishment. You will be given the keys to quiet the noise, to harness your focus, and to finally build the momentum that turns today's effort into tomorrow's success. The most productive version of you is waiting. Let's begin. And that system, the very first rule of this new way of operating, begins with a single, counter-intuitive decision. It requires you to make peace with imperfection, to embrace the mess, to fall in love with the ugly, awkward, stumbling first step. We have been conditioned to believe that we must have the perfect plan before we begin. We wait for the right moment, the right mood, the right amount of knowledge. We tell ourselves we need one more book, one more course, one more piece of software. This is the greatest lie that holds talented people back. It's a form of self-sabotage disguised as preparation. Jack Ma understood this deeply. He was not the most technically gifted person in the room. He did not have a perfect business plan. What he had was a willingness to start before he was ready, to look foolish, to try something ugly that could be refined later. He said, if you want to be successful, learn from other people's failure. But you cannot learn from failure, yours or anyone else's, by just thinking about it. You learn by doing, by creating something so imperfect that it almost embarrasses you. This is where your power is born. Your brain is not designed to figure everything out in the isolation of your own mind. It is designed to learn through feedback loops. action, reaction, adjustment. This is the fundamental rhythm of progress. When you wait for perfection, you shut down this entire system. You are trying to solve a puzzle with no pieces to move. But when you take that first clumsy action, you suddenly have data. You have something real to work with. You have ignited the engine of your own learning, that feeling of resistance you get when you think about starting a big project that isn't fear of failure. It's the fear of that initial awkwardness. The fear of not being immediately brilliant. It's the ego trying to protect itself from the temporary dip in competence that is required for any real growth. To become more, you must first be willing to be less. You must be willing to be a beginner, to write a terrible first draft, to design a clumsy logo, to make a sales call with a shaky voice. This is not a sign of weakness. It is the bravest thing you can do. It is the ultimate sign of self-respect, because you are prioritizing your long-term growth over your short-term comfort. You are telling yourself that your goal is more important than your image. Every masterpiece began as a rough sketch. Every symphony began as a few scattered notes. The magic was not in the initial idea, but in the courage to give that idea a form, however misshapen it was at first. Momentum is not built by a grand, perfect launch. It is built by a small, ugly push, and then another, and then another. Each action, no matter how small, sends a powerful signal to your subconscious mind. It says, we are moving, we are building, we are the kind of person who takes action. This builds a new identity, brick by brick. You are no longer someone who dreams, you are someone who does. The reward for this is not just eventual success. The reward is immediate freedom. Freedom from the paralyzing weight of your own expectations. Freedom from the anxiety of not knowing how it will all turn out. The moment you embrace the ugly start, you reclaim your power. You shift from being a passive passenger on your own journey to the driver. The road might be unclear, but you are moving, and that movement itself creates the road. So look at that project you've been putting off, that goal that feels too big, and make a new decision right now. Decide that you will not wait for a spark of inspiration. Decide that you will create the spark through friction, through action. Do the easiest, smallest, ugliest version of it you can possibly imagine. Just start, type one sentence, draw one line, make one call, lower the bar so dramatically that it is impossible not to step over it. Your future self, the productive, accomplished, powerful version of you that you know is in there, is not waiting for a perfect plan. That version of you is waiting for you to make one imperfect move. That is all it takes to break the spell. That is the first and most important trick. To build something great, you must first be willing to build something flawed. But that first step, that courageous embrace of the imperfect beginning, is only the ignition. It gets the engine turning over. Now we must channel that energy, we must give it direction, because raw, untamed action without focus is just noise. It is the difference between a laser and a light bulb. One can cut through steel, the other simply illuminates the room. You have limited energy, limited attention, limited hours in the day. To pour these precious resources into 10 different tasks at once is to guarantee that none of them will receive the intensity required to break through. This is the trap of modern productivity. We mistake activity for achievement. We answer emails, attend meetings, scroll through feeds, and cross minor tasks off our lists, feeling a sense of motion, while the one thing that truly matters, the thing that would change everything, remains untouched, looming in the background. Jack Ma didn't build Alibaba by trying to build 10 companies at once. He focused on one. He understood a profound truth. Exceptional results require exclusive attention. Your mind is not built for multitasking. What we call multitasking is really task switching, and every switch has a cost, a cognitive penalty that drains your mental fuel and scatters your focus. You may feel busy, but you are operating at a fraction of your potential power. The second trick is to ruthlessly identify the one thing that matters most, not the 10 things, the one. Ask yourself this question with brutal honesty: what is the single most important task I could complete today? What one action would make everything else easier or even irrelevant? This is your priority. This is your lighthouse. This task is not necessarily the most urgent. It is often the thing you are most likely to avoid because it is difficult, because it requires deep thought, because it makes you vulnerable. It is the strategic work, not the administrative busy work. It is the project that could advance your career, the skill that could open new doors, the conversation that could mend a bridge. This is the work that truly moves the needle, and this task deserves your best energy, not your leftovers. It deserves the first hour of your day when your willpower is at its peak, when your mind is fresh and uncluttered by the distractions of the world. You must defend this time with ferocious intensity. See it as a sacred appointment with your future self. This is how you reverse engineer your life. You don't let the outside world dictate your agenda. You start with your priority, and you build a fortress of focus around it. Everything else, the emails, the messages, the minor requests, must wait outside the walls until your most important work is done. This is not about being selfish. It is about being strategic. It is about respecting your potential enough to give it the conditions it needs to thrive. When you do this, something magical happens. You create a cascade of accomplishment. Completing that one critical task generates a surge of momentum and genuine confidence. It releases dopamine, rewarding your brain and programming it to seek out more of this focused achievement. The rest of your day then becomes easier, lighter. You operate from a position of strength, having already won the day's most important battle. The minor tasks are handled with leftover energy because you have already claimed your victory. This is how you build a legacy of productivity, not by doing more things, but by doing more of the right things. You are training your brain to seek depth over breadth, impact over activity. You are telling yourself that your primary purpose is to create, to build, to contribute something of substance. The world is designed to distract you, to pull you into the shallow end of constant reactivity. Your job is to dive deep, to choose one thing, and to give it everything you have, if only for a focused hour. That single hour of undiluted focus is worth more than 8 hours of fractured attention. It is in that depth that you find not just productivity, but mastery. It is where you find your true power. And yet, even with that fierce focus on the one thing that matters, a question remains: how do you ensure that this powerful focus is not stolen from you? How do you protect your most valuable asset, your attention, in a world that is screaming for it every second of every day? This is the critical third piece of the puzzle. It is the difference between intention and execution. You can have the most important task clearly defined, but if you leave your time undefended, it will be invaded, divided, and conquered by the agendas of others. True productivity is not just about doing the right thing. It is about creating the right environment for that thing to be done. It is about moving from being reactive to becoming proactive. Most people live their lives in a state of constant reaction. The phone pings, they look. An email arrives, they answer. A colleague asks, they respond. This reactive state puts you on the back foot. It hands the reins of your focus over to whoever demands it next. It fractures your concentration and ensures that your deepest work is always interrupted, always postponed. You must reverse this flow. You must become the architect of your day, not a tenant in it. This means shifting from a responsive mindset to a creative one. Instead of asking, "What do I need to respond to today?" you ask, "What do I need to create today?" This single shift in perspective changes everything. It moves you from a passive consumer of demands to an active builder of your own reality. Now, you must design your time around your creation. Your most important task is not something you squeeze in. It is the foundation upon which your entire day is built. You schedule it first. You block out that time in your calendar with the unbreakable resolve of a surgeon performing a critical operation. During that time, you eliminate every possible point of interruption. You silence notifications, you close your door, you create a bubble of pure, undiluted focus. This is not a suggestion, it is a non-negotiable contract you make with your future self. You are telling the world, and more importantly, telling yourself, that this work is sacred. This is how you honor your potential. This proactive design extends beyond a single hour. It is about structuring your entire energy cycle. Your brain has natural rhythms, times of peak focus and times of lower energy. Strategic productivity means aligning your tasks with these rhythms. Your most demanding, creative work, your one thing, must happen during your peak focus time. For most, this is the morning. Administrative tasks, meetings, and responses can be batched together and handled in the afternoon when your energy naturally dips. This is not working harder, it is working smarter. It is respecting the natural machinery of your mind and using it to its maximum potential. By doing this, you accomplish two profound psychological victories. First, you create a powerful sense of agency. You are no longer a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of them. This feeling of control is a fundamental human need, and fulfilling it reduces anxiety and builds confidence. Second, you create clear finish lines. When you schedule your deep work, you also schedule its end. This allows you to fully immerse yourself without the guilt of neglecting other tasks, because you know they have their own designated time. You can be fully present in your focus, and then fully present in your rest or your other responsibilities. This is the path to not just being productive, but to being whole. You are building a life where work serves you, not the other way around. You are designing a day where your greatest contributions are made, and you are still left with the energy to enjoy the life you are working to build. This is the ultimate power move. It is a quiet declaration that your time, your focus, and your life are yours to command. This architecture of focus, this sacred space you build for your most important work, reveals a deeper truth. A grand vision, no matter how inspiring, is useless if it remains a distant, blurry picture on the horizon. It becomes a source of anxiety, not action. The human brain is not wired to process a skyscraper. It is wired to lay one brick. The fourth trick is to master the art of breaking the monumental into the manageable, to understand that every great achievement is merely a series of small, consistent actions, stacked one upon the other until they form something undeniable. We overwhelm ourselves by staring at the summit instead of focusing on the very next step. The distance seems impossible, so we never take the first step. This is where dreams go to die, not in failure, but in never being started. Jack Ma did not set out to build $1 billion empire on day one. He set out to connect a few Chinese suppliers to a few buyers online. That was the brick. Then he laid another and another. The focus was never on the final height of the building. The focus was on the perfection of the next brick. This is the rhythm of mastery. This is how you build momentum that becomes unstoppable. Your brain is chemically designed to reward completion. Every time you finish a task, no matter how small, your brain releases a dose of dopamine. This neurotransmitter is associated with pleasure, motivation, and learning. It is your body's way of saying, "Well done. Do that again." By breaking your one important task into tiny, completable actions, you are essentially hacking your brain's reward system. You are programming yourself to feel good about making progress. You are building an addiction to forward motion. This is the opposite of how most people work. They set a huge, vague goal, build a successful business, write a book, get in shape. These goals are so large they provide no dopamine hit until they are fully complete, which may be years away. This is a recipe for burnout and disillusionment. The path is long, and there are no rewards along the way. But when you break it down, write one paragraph, make one sales call, do 10 push-ups, These are actions you can complete in minutes. Each completion is a win. Each win gives you a small shot of fuel. That fuel propels you to the next win. This creates a positive feedback loop of accomplishment. You are no longer trudging toward a distant finish line. You are collecting small victories every single day. These victories build your confidence and compound your progress. Over time, the cumulative effect of these tiny actions is not additive. It is multiplicative. They build upon each other, creating results that are far greater than the sum of their parts. This is the power of consistency over intensity. Intensity is sprinting for a day and then collapsing for a week. Consistency is walking every day, and eventually you've crossed a continent. Intensity relies on fleeting motivation. Consistency builds on unshakable discipline. The question you must ask yourself is not, what is my grand goal? The question is, what is the next brick? What is the one small, undeniable action you can take right now that moves you 1 inch closer? Then do it, celebrate it, and let the satisfaction of that completion pull you toward the next one. This is how you build a life of purpose and achievement, not through giant, painful leaps, but through small, certain steps. You are not aiming for perfection. You are aiming for progression. You are building a chain of evidence that proves to yourself, beyond any doubt, that you are the kind of person who gets things done. That identity, built one brick at a time, is the most powerful force you will ever possess. And so we arrive at the core, the very heart of the matter. All these tricks, the ugly start, the single focus, the designed time, the small wins, they are not just actions. They are not a checklist to complete. They are something far more profound. They are the tools you use to build the most important thing you will ever create, your new identity. This is the fifth and final trick, and it is the one that makes all the others permanent. You see, most people try to change their actions without changing their self-image. They try to do productive things while still seeing themselves as a disorganized or procrastinating person. This creates an internal conflict, a civil war inside your own mind. The old identity will always win. It will sabotage the new actions because they feel inauthentic, like putting on a costume that doesn't fit. The goal is not to do productive things. The goal is to become a productive person. To shift your very sense of self. To let your actions, reinforced by these psychological triggers, slowly and surely convince you of a new truth about who you are. Every time you choose the ugly start over perfect delay, you are not just starting a task. You are gathering evidence. You are telling your subconscious, this is what a productive person does. This is who I am. Every time you defend your focus and complete your one most important task, you are not just crossing something off a list. You are building a new self-concept. You are etching the identity of someone who values their work and their time. Every small win you stack, every brick you lay, is another piece of proof. It is undeniable data that you are changing. This is how transformation truly happens. It is not a sudden explosion of change. It is a quiet, consistent accumulation of evidence that rewires your belief system from the inside out. You are not faking it until you make it. You are building it until you become it. Jack Ma's journey was not just about building a company. It was about building the identity of a person who could build a company. He had to become the leader, the innovator, the persevering force. The external success was merely a reflection of that internal shift. Your environment, your past, your current circumstances, they do not get to decide who you are. You decide, and you prove it to yourself through consistent, intentional action. You stop saying, I should be more productive. You start saying, I am a productive person. And then you act in accordance with that truth. You act like the person you have decided to become. This is the ultimate psychological trigger, the power of identity-based habits. When an action becomes a vote for your new identity, it is no longer a struggle of willpower. It becomes an affirmation of truth. It becomes something you do because it is who you are. A productive person doesn't struggle to focus. A focused person simply focuses. This is your liberation from the grind. This is where the effort falls away and is replaced by alignment. You are no longer fighting against yourself. You are finally acting in harmony with the person you were always meant to be. Look back at the person you were when you started this. That person was capable but conflicted, full of potential but trapped by outdated systems and a limiting self. That person is gone. You have been given the tools. You have been shown the path. You understand the triggers that unlock your own motivation. Now, the only thing left to do is to step into your new reality. To decide, right now, that you are not someone who tries. You are someone who does. You are not someone who hopes. You are someone who builds. The world needs what you have to offer. It needs your focus, your contribution, your built legacy. It is waiting for the real you to finally show up. Let today be the day you answer that call. Let today be the day you become